To some, this is nothing more than cardboard and ink. But to those who know, these are precious metals, rare gems, a full set it took 15 years to complete. Low-pop rookies, hypnotizing hollows, one of only a handful in the universe, or an heirloom to look after for the next generation. No matter what you collect, raw or graded, to have and to hold, or to crush your opponents with, what matters is that it's real. Introducing eBay's Authenticity Guarantee for trading cards. Our third-party authenticators inspect every detail of your card and compare it to the listing to make sure it's the real deal or no deal, because we know just how much your collection means to you.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Challengers. We get closer and closer to see who qualifies for the top 4 for the closed qualifiers. My name is Keg, and I'm joined by the most ravishing man on the internet, Mr. Ravishing Ravish, and we have an amazing series for you. It's BreakThru versus OR, two teams you may have heard of before, may not have, but let me tell you, the stat lines are pretty wild for both these teams. But before we get started, we do have a few different people to thank. And besides, you can get all the new gaming tech on eBay with up to 50% off the latest gear. With free shipping on top brands like Microsoft, Razer, HyperX, and more, you can find everything you need at the right price. But you can check out the gaming deals at pks.gg/eBay. All right, Ravish, BreakThru versus OR. I can't wait to show off these maps.
Yes, I too am very excited. I cannot wait to be able to get into our games of VALORANT today, my friend K. But like I say, yeah, OR and of course on Team BreakThru, both these teams have made pretty magnificent runs throughout the upper bracket, right? They're a team that we haven't been able to see a ton of, but both these sides, of course, like comprising of just all the free agents that they could possibly find, combined together to make hopefully what is a team that can qualify past the qualifier all the way up, past Ascension going towards Challengers and Masters, of course, so past that. So this is the goal, of course, for naturally all these teams, and both these sides bolster some impressive roster.
Oh, absolutely. The rosters for both these teams is pretty nutty, and OR might be one of those orgs you may not have heard of before. You're probably thinking, well, who's on that team? It's actually old Stealing Lunch Money. They've been able to be signed onto an org, and let me tell you, they've been able to stay together as a core, and they're pretty good so far in Challengers. In fact, both these teams have rarely dropped a map at all.
Right. I believe on the side of Team OR, it has been, I believe, around 2 maps which they dropped, or 2 or 3, to take it to best of 3s each time. But on the other end, though, right? For Team BT they have only dropped 1 map, which is on Pearl, and that was overtime against Cosmic Divide. So we continue on the trend of flawless runs, and even on Team BreakThru side, they of course have some of the cores from Ghost of Proto and Brock, which are 2 phenomenal players, and some other members from also new Stealing Lunch Money. But let's talk about where they'll be facing up against one another as you look at the map picks and bans.
Yeah, I wonder if we're going to see Pearl here, and look at that. It's the last map banned here in the best of 3. So let's talk about Fracture. I love Fracture. I know it's a little divided sometimes in the community, but it's a slow, tactical map where you really got to make sure you know what you're doing, especially for the attacking side. But there's a catch to this, though. It's a pick from OR, and it's a really smart play, because so far, this is a map that BreakThru have not played yet in Challengers.
So that will be the biggest question mark that they have, right? But on the other end, for Team OR, Max, how many games have Team OR won on Fracture?
Only 2 games, and their stats for both the attack and defense aren't anything out of this world, but regardless though, they have a flawless win rate on this map. This is an exceptional choice to go for the beginning of your series.
Indeed, my friend. So, and at least with this, we get some more variety as well, right? So we managed to, at least see a couple of different maps in essence. And what we do also manage to do is get a sneak peek of what is new Fracture, which I find hasn't been displayed a ton. And based on what you're mentioning, the attacking side, naturally, the tempo differential is what I find really plays into what they're able to do and not do, right? Because after the initial stat exec, rotating seems like the biggest challenge in the world. If you don't have a constant flank watch, if you can't get onto a site, and if you can't take what is the minimum amount of space you are allowed, then things get tough. But hey, there's of course also Ascent, which on the other end for Team BreakThru, they have performed flawlessly on. And the trend we've seen so far is you win the first map, you win the second on string, and I just want to see a map 3, and I want to see it back and forth. That's all.
Let's hope we get to see a map 3 wrap. But talking about Ascent, though, it's a battle of 100% again. Both these teams have gone flawlessly so far on this map, but BreakThru do have a small advantage. They have won the map 4 times over in open quals thus far, whereas OR, they've only won it once. Now, if you want to kind of make that weighted a little bit, sure, a flawless is a flawless, but when you do it 4 times over, it becomes a little bit of a different story. And we'll get to the stat lines and the nitty-gritty once we get there, but we got to focus back to Fracture. This, like you said, the tempo is so far different, and something that we have seen it, but we haven't seen a lot of in open quals has been utility-based executes. I mean, don't get me wrong. We see flashes, we see tailwinds, we see all the smokes you can imagine getting onto a site for these attacking teams, but the utility itself usually takes a back seat when we have the litany of gunfights that comes through from all the series we've cast in the last 2 days. But Fracture is a different story. This is a map where, especially on the attack, you need to have that utility prowess down to a T. And if any piece of it goes wrong on that attack, you got to rotate to the other site, and you're lacking quite a bit when you do that.
Right. In its essence, that, as I was already saying, presents its own unique challenge.
Yes.
Because once again, once you're on a site, you always have to leave one person behind to maintain the constant flank watch or have at least a site for somebody there, which is once again this has been a map the Cypher has popular and prominence on. But in entering a site in general is something where, like you're saying, the utility-based executes are definitely going to be a big part of what these teams need to do. Whether it be, being able to rush in with the brim stimmy or just smokes galore where you make the caterpillar to allow yourselves to walk in, or past that, it's flash upon flash to a molly to just make and pave the way for the rest of the team to walk in. And once we head into the game in just a minute, we'll be able to see how practiced these two teams are. Naturally, all these players have played on Fracture and competed on it before, but how do they play on it together will be the real big question.
That's the big question, especially for a team that hasn't played it officially in Challengers just yet. Brand new year, somewhat of a brand new team too. And while we have a relative idea about the ages that will be coming out from OR, it's a different story for BreakThru. But also, let's be realistic, the meta compositions for agents on Fracture really doesn't change that much through pro play, but you never know. There's that opportunity where we could see something different, and BreakThru from some of their other games that they've played in Challengers have done things a little bit differently. I believe on one of the Pearl matches, we've seen a Yoru come out, of all things, so it's like, we could see something a little bit different. Am I banking on it? No. I think we might see a mirror comp.
I think, firstly, Yoru on Pearl is goated with the sauce.
Absolutely.
All right, bro. He's insane. Because of the very long angles you got to play, what you can do with your TP. If we just, scale it back all the way to the Game Changers land, how G2 was able to play Pearl up against all their opponents is something to be astounded at, where just what they did with their TPs, how they pulled away attention from one side and immediately went to the other, is something that's not really able to be done in a lot of different maps. As just to let you know, we do have a small delay between getting into it, so you can talk to us for a couple more minutes before we get to the next game. No worries at all. But yeah, Pearl naturally isn't here, but I naturally on Fracture am expecting, like Neon, right? Maybe Cypher, Killjoy, Brimstone, if possible. I've seen a Phoenix if you wanted to get freaky with it, but that's about it.
I don't know if we're going to see a Phoenix here, but it's funny that you mentioned that, because OR, when they did play in Challengers in open quals for Fracture, they actually didn't play a Neon. They chose to go for a Raze instead. We haven't been seeing as much Neon in Fracture as a whole. I'm not sure if that's just because it's early on in qualifiers, or maybe they're just saving strats a little bit. I think we will see the return soon, but I can imagine that we're probably going to stick more towards the Raze and the Jet kind of motif here rather than Neon. Don't get me wrong. I want to see Neon. So fun to see. But already going in the agent select, no Neons abound anywhere else. Instead, Zeldris, true to the word we just said, going to the Raze pick, and so is Sim.
There we are, my friend. As exactly as you were saying, it might be almost identical. No, it should be identical composition of both of these sides. So, okay, I would say this was somewhat unexpected from my end, but something that I'm pleasantly happy to see, I'd say. So, one thing that we can definitely dive into once you get into the map is how the util differs on both these sides when we look towards the way they're, of course, when defending and the options they have, right? As we look to make our way in just a little bit.
I think my biggest pinpoint that I would look at in Fracture are Jonah and Flya. I want to see how the KO reacts to the utility and to the environment around them in the play. If both of these teams opt to go for an attack that's very fast, that might not be enough room for someone like KO to use that 0 point effectively. And when a lot of the executes for the attack comes in the pinch maneuvers or even kind of going to that underpass underbelly of B site, the 0 point and KO's utility as a whole might not be nearly as effective. But KO also has that null command, and that could shut down the entirety of a site. So that might be a good offset, but how often are we going to see the null command come out?
I mean, if you get ideally once every 8 rounds, if you're not really getting much, right? So that's the overall stats breakdown of it. But we can talk about that later. What I do want to be able to see is what these teams do. Now, on Team BreakThru side, it's a 3-2. It's a 3-2 pretty standard defense. What I would be curious is how much attention they pay to arcade, and especially now on OR side as well too. They're going for a pretty similar split. It's the commitment is what matters for where they really put in all the resources.
Yeah, and this is already looking like a slow round beginning for OR. Spike not dedicated just yet. Will be picked up, though, by Raze. Otherwise, though, I want to focus on Nilly. Having that potential anti-flank watch there for that maybe split push if this B side execute doesn't work out for OR side. There is a contingency plan. There is a way to save it all. But BreakThru, the majority of them are stacked up outside A main looking for that impact, but no one's there except for maybe the single tripwire.
And now through this wasn't put down. The tripwire is enough. Zeldris gets spotted. And so they'll leave them inside the cypher cage to know where to go out. But we're on the sites, and a Proto holds it down. That's the kind of anchor you want on your ship on a round like this. Lives Nilly by himself in a 4v5. He has a cage, but I can't imagine he wants to invest it. It'll just be him against the rest of BreakThru.
Yeah. Only that cyber cage would really be used if we want to rotate towards tower, but all options were off from there. Thief gets the final KO, and BreakThru win that opening round. And I gotta say, a Proto was the mini MVP of this first round. Cyber Cage into the tripwire. Zeldris caught off guard. Everyone else forced to face 1v1s, but a Proto, he made those the Radiant boxes just like an absolute circus for him. Just played around with it so much, and it was all an environmental play. That's what you want to see on the defense. But going into the next round, a bit of a split push again. It's actually the inverse for OR. Instead, now Nilly's hiding her out towards A side, waiting to see, will there be any aggressive plays through and through? But Sim and company are ready and waiting.
The knife, I believe, managed to tag on all 4 of them, and they're pushing out aggressively against one another too. Playing around Dish, that's 3 taken, even with the concuss. And OR, their effective rush gets rushed back. So the counter strat is beautiful. And now leaving Nilly last one alive once again.
Where have I seen this before?
Probably last round.
Oh.
And a flawless, but this time, though, is what's different.
2-0. You're absolutely right, the flawless round from BreakThru. And to be honest, BreakThru haven't really had to step far out of their boundaries of the site. They've just been able to stick on A and B respectively and just push up a teeny tiny bit and mow down OR. But those are the opening 2 rounds. We've seen big turnarounds from teams that have been able to lose those opening 2. And once Rifles get in their hands, it turns into a very different story. Rather this time than having that 4-1 split, it's actually OR stacking up as a group outside of Arcade. But BreakThru again, you can see on the minimap, seems like Fly is already prepped up and ready. Proto's on the other side with that full utility close to the site. just ready and waiting to see what that next strike can be. But they
One
actually back
surprise.
off site. The 0 point does detect where Fly's location is. It's a matter, though, of just hiding away, playing for this 1v, potentially 5. 4, excuse me.
So the use a native tower to just to force Fly back, but now with this, they're hoping to perhaps even draw more attention. But you see OR, right? They're still kind of meandering right outside of B, and all pretty much stacked up as 4, hoping to see if they do manage to get one here as well, because Fly needs to be cleared out before they can confidently enter the site. Meanwhile, Nilly wants to get on the lurk, and he gets Sim. Luck finally pays off. So now Team BreakThru has some choices to make, but Fly with a concuss gets one of his own, and now OR. See, there were 2 taken away. They have to try to enter. Proto once again past the flash inside the corner, takes 2 of his own, and OR are not even allowed to see what B site looks like.
Yeah, they still have no idea. It's like buying a house and just not even seeing the interior just yet. BreakThru. Good for the Flabos so far, and I have an interesting stat for you, Rev.
What's that?
It's small right now, but it's like a seedling. It's going to grow. A Proto has so far gained all six of his frags just from sitting on B main, just waiting, playing so reactively to OR. And I really thought the turnaround would be there when Nilly got that lurking kill, but the answer is no. Instead, it was just a push through from OR, and they just got down again. But this time it's a little disenfranchised, not quite the lurk as we saw before. Instead, 2 separate lurks from outside B and A respectively. Oh.
And what? And once again, Operator changed up his position a tad, but it's Flyer this time to take it. Lear, if he bleeds on him, and Flyer blows him a kiss and takes him out.
Look at the response here. The travel in the underbelly. That's a bit of a sneaky snake maneuver here.
Sneaky. But they may not be sneaky enough, though. As this time, they managed to join up as 3, and they have to wait for the smoke to dissipate before effectively walking in. But Fly set up with the setup, and Flyer because we positioned to tower. So, although he doesn't catch anybody there, but the jump peek works out. Now he has to get out. Peeks in. What a transfer from Flyer! No ace though, but Team BreakThru. Beautiful hold.
Still no effective take of the site just yet. 4 rounds in, already a tack timeout. This is the fastest tack timeout we have seen on stream for Open Qual so far. And I don't blame them. OR keep trying their best, whether it be B main, arcade, any sort of angle possible to just take B site. But they play directly into the claws of not only Flya here, and we see in the replay, a 4K that round, good lord. But on top of that, 0 deaths so far for a Proto, doing the same exact thing, playing hockey goalie. On B site, just ready for anyone to push in. And these have been slow executes from OR too. When you have a raise and a brimstone to accompany you, you're expecting to see maybe a big gigantic blast pack onto a site. But those Cypher utils, the tripwires, it's stopping OR in their tracks.
Dude, calling him a hockey goalie would be in comparison saying how if the goalie, instead of saving the puck, he shot the pucks back. Like, yeah, he's chilling in goal. He's like, no, I'm not the one who needs to be saved. I am the danger. And so he just takes the stick in the net and shoots it himself, man. But aside from the similes we're making, what matters right now is how OR adapt instead. So far it's just been kind of just walking into sites and hoping that the peak outs early on, they managed to win. But with how far BreakThru has been, they're instead, still with 3-2. But this time, attacking the same site.
It's a split push this time, though. At first, I thought it was going to be a lurk with Pure only, but now that Nilly's joined them, this is the first one we've seen. Utility early on, not connecting from OR's side. There's still the neural theft to potentially see. That would require someone in BreakThru to go down. It hasn't happened just yet. No contact has been made. Meanwhile, though, BreakThru, those who run A, they're going on their own adventure. They shoot down the Cypher Cam. Might make OR a little nervous. They're hiding in underbelly now to group up with the rest of the team. The Pure's rotating back over. These are fake smokes over towards A. And everyone's starting to rotate.
They're hoping to keep their attention here, and B says it's almost cleared out. It's just a Proto just maintaining his distance and waiting to see if anybody does manage to walk in. But Brock is still as well underneath neutral, waiting for the rest of OR who have yet to actually break through the site. Instead, they're all just cutting noise and slow playing it, waiting. So they're likely just caterpillar in and make space for them to walk into sight, but they're going to be concussed as soon as that happens.
Exec off 30. The aftershock, the fragment grenade, no one can move. There's no sense of movement at all.
No one, and they don't need to at all. Because look at this. Because they didn't get tagged by any of the util, the flashes barely connects as well. And so now they take the gunfights. Our Protonaut has also joined up with them, but the spike is dropped. They have 10 seconds. OR! A play that seemed to succeed, but Team BreakThru holds strong. Not a single centimeter of movement.
A team ace, no less, Rav. And, you know, we have the gift of seeing both teams. We're not in the minds of the players. So what I can only assume was that OR, going for the fake smokes on A site, they waited so long for that execute, they must have assumed maybe that BreakThru rotated from A and then back to B, which is when OR would go for the strike.
Yes.
But they called the bluff for OR. Oh, BreakThru is stuck on A site instead. And now a Proto switching up the utility, hiding on A side now. And this is directly where OR think the weak spot's gonna be. Playing into Proto's game so much.
A Proto this time feeling confident. Oh, is the plan over? But luckily no one's there to hear him, so it's a quick rotate. And now it's a walk-in. Our Proto's all the way back in spawn, but Tripwire actually wasn't blocking close, but the camera was though. So I just commented all his teammates like, yo, homies, they're all here. Let's start it up. And the aftershock connects, but the spike still goes down. Jonah gives his life for eye. Oh, nice wall bang. But Zeldris full flashed. Has for somebody to pop through.
Zeldris!
No one's there. He's waiting. He's hoping. And he runs out of time. He shoots it. He doesn't get anybody. And now Brock finds his time to peek through. The second, the concuss is beautiful. Brock with the setup. All by himself. And it's a flawless.
In what reality does that not connect? The showstopper should have been good for at least one. There were four directly within its path. And yet it didn't connect to anybody. Yes, I would love to see a replay of this. Aftershock takes down Jonah. A great angle to make it difficult for BreakThru to push up for the retrade, but look at this. More Brock there for the back lines. At best, Rav, Lear's leading OR right now with 2 kills on the board. And not a single round in their name.
This is a tough start if you are OR currently. Right? On a map of Fracture, which is your pick. Right? So you're hoping to possibly catch the BreakThru off by surprise. A newer squad. But this is fun. He was rolling Thunder pretty early on, but nobody's actually there. All he touches on B, and finally, Zeldris finds a space inside. No one there to stop him. Brock couldn't do nothing there, and the spike gets planted.
And look at this, the immediate ejection from site. OR playing for that rolling Thunder, waiting to see when the spike will make contact. Everyone else from BreakThru on the canteen angle. Zeldris there to be the primary force of contact. Aftershock doesn't connect, but the fault line does. Zeldris is stuck.
He's running. He's pushing at him. Woohoo! That was almost close, but it's a Proto. Up against 3 and getting 2 by the end of it. And the rest, they know exactly where they're at. They just come from one another. BNS ducks into a corner. Lear's now gone. BNS to take 2. The flash of the setup. Peek out. And he gets him. OR with their first.
And we're going to have to wait and see until we get to the next round, but I'm pretty sure that was a Proto's... Was it? Was that his first? It was his first death.
Yeah.
7 rounds in. His very first death. But I mean, that was a great round from OR. They went for that fast exec. They called the bluff yet again at BreakThru, this time in their own favor. And now there's a lot of options on the board. Don't forget, too, that BreakThru have never publicly played this map before, at least in Open Quals. They have yet to have any appearance. There's nothing the VOD review be going up against them.
Well, everybody right now gotta pay close attention to what they see. The knife goes up to the other side of spawn. Does not catch Nelly there. And we're back once again to this 4-person push. Cam spot's been changed just slightly though. And they're now double stacked up, looking at Link.
Oh. These tripwires set up so deep for sight, looking for maybe or even a retake off of the info there.
Ooh. The Molly managed to get Zeldris to looking entry, but from here, there's one is on site, there's two still all the way on the outside. Lear actually doesn't go down, but there is the big fire pit for the sky. They'll clear everybody, but now OR make the way in. Yeah, it's a chaotic round, but if you look at the end, OR, once the Brave Malt actually managed to force everybody back, it's with the entry, and Nilly takes his time. It's a 1v1. It's him against Brock, and Nilly with the clutch.
A game of ciphers, holding down B-side one team or another. I mean, that was just every ult in the book. The only thing that survived was that orbital strike from OR. Pure hasn't used it yet, but everything else in the book was. And here we go. Nilly, great double kill at the end there. You want to hear a fun fact?
Well, of course.
Well, a lot of our newer viewers might not know this, but Flya's weapon, the Vandal, had this white glow around it. Both champions, the Vandal, the knives that go with it, and the Phantom. If you are the top frag of the entire lobby, not just your team, it glows this brilliant white glow that you won't see from any other weapon.
Yeah, very cool. Big fan. But that's a big knife.
Yeah, that's huge.
Main lockdown, so they can naturally read the early position, but from here, it'll be hard to think and try to surmise where they might be rotating towards. But from here, none of team broke through. Immediately breaks away. Nice flick. Straight shots beautiful from Sim. But OR though are not stopping.
No, and losing Nilly's not going to be a great case either. There's no flank watch utility anymore. They're forced to dedicate on the site.
Deep past the smoke, walking in. Oh! Almost had if he wasn't full flashed. And a set that's not coming in to allow Zeldris to do his thing. We see Lear popping off, the orbital strike and conjecture. And once again, they get the spike down. There's no aftershock here to stop this. But it's 3v4.
Full side control. Zeldris good for yet another. Only two left alive for BreakThru and separated out. They have to sandwich their way back on the site for a 2-1.
You watch the angle, there's no flashes present. Brock! What a swing! Nuclear Zeldris there, now Jonas stuck at the bottom. Not able to get much more. Forced to one angle, but he wins the fight. It's so big, and a flyer 1v2. Just one flash remaining, but it's out an open angle. So he's gonna have to pretty much stick this. They see, and it's stuck. But only till half.
And that was off of losing the opening to pick 2, OR. Most other teams, they would have rotated out after losing out Nilly, but instead, they stuck to their guns and they went for the fast exec. Finally now, Zeldris waking up a little bit this game, finding more impact now, top of the leaderboard at that. These are the fast amounts of entries that we were talking about at the beginning of this game, what we were expecting to see. And now, typically when we were looking at the past for like Neon, we would have seen that a lot more, but this is a lot more of a team-centric open quals, and Zeldris still playing with the team, still going fast, but albeit slower, is important. And speaking of which, Zeldris goes super fast here, supersonic speed, but there's no impact.
Showstopper delay with the molly and the nade, and shot blind, not able to catch anybody at all. So they know they cleared all the bottom, and now Thief as well has to back away past the aftershock as well. Brock now shot down, gets 2. What a pick! One tucked in the corner, and he makes his way out alive. They thought they had him, but they were locked in the sight with him.
Oh, and we just talked about how great the aggressive entry was for OR, and immediately BreakThru. They counter-stratted, and they completely shut it down before the round could even really start. 7-3 though. A minor comeback for 3 rounds in a row for OR, but with 2 still left to determine how things could go. We could see the 9-3 curse, or we may be able to see a much more competitive 7-5 scoreline, but however it may break down, BreakThru are playing so reactively, and OR, it's been a battle trying to figure out how they can stay on the aggression till the end of the round. And look at this setup from BreakThru. Top of satellite, the Boombot looking for any semblance of info won't be there. So there won't be an aggressive push just yet. Outside of B, it's a different story. Now, Proto might be stuck.
I mean, last time we said that our Proto just got 2 out of nowhere, but yeah, this is an angle where you were hoping that somebody walks in, helps you out, a huge flash, and nobody's stuck. It's the rest of OR who've been sandwiched in, and it's looking like right now they got celiac disease with the way that they're trying to get out of all this bread. A Proto saw one though.
Caught me off guard.
I know, I'm sorry. But the Jonah 6 as well is left. But the chip wire to go through. Oh, but they're making us all a fake. It was a diversion. As the Aparo also get diverted. It's 2v2 by the end of the engagement.
And look at this. Only real map control of the stairs, Sim, pop shots, the null command raining through has ended. The utility's now back, and look at Sim, almost full util. The paint nade's devastating.
Double flash, but it's enough for him to reposition. And Venus up in tower, sees the angle. No! Sim can't get it! And it's just Brock left alive. It's one more flash, but then it was actually where he is. He has the full walk in. It's because VNS, a straight shot. It connects! And Brock, big man, BRAWK, takes it home.
You gotta put some respect on the name. That is Break Brock to you, sir. Holy. What a clutch. A beautiful one at that. The reactive playstyle continuing on like it's nobody's business. No matter how dominant OR look at the beginning of the round, however little people there are on site, it doesn't matter. BreakThru, as if like magic, used their utility to just completely sandwich everyone through, suffocate them away, to minimize what angles they can achieve.
Here.
And now with OR
round.
on the save, yeah. It's there. It's kind of a half buy, right? So that's gonna be some build logs, judges. I was a big fan, but hey, knife shot out early on, so at least got the info. But look how far up Sim is going. He has the support of the flashes there as well, and one more person to peek off of it. But it's only peek first, and doesn't land. But that's only one taken. OR is more than okay with it. Force him off the angle. And Brock, instead, the Chad that he is, decides to re-peek against 3.
3v3. OR forced to disengage themselves, licking their wounds as they make that mad dash over towards B, but there's still pressure on Satellite. That pressure, though, alleviated the gushing wound. Everyone else waiting around on different parts of the site. You would think that Flyer might be AFK, but I think he's just waiting for the rope play, but no one's there. Instead, now the 2 buns of the sandwich have been made. And OR might be finding themselves as that lettuce and meat in the middle. All 1v1s. Thief, though, has the right idea. Smoke dissipates. Good for one.
Right here. Right here.
The thing is, Max, what do you got 2 right there? And right now, it seems like Thief is hungry. Fox be able to take that home and seems like that burger's gonna be charbroiled to perfection with an orbital strike like that. A 9-3 half.
9-3. Maybe the curse will come by, but for a team that has had no info, no public play of Fracture, it's been a heck of a performance so far. A crazy cleanup, and a lot of that has to do with both Fly and a Proto. I love the holds that we had seen on B, and over again, OR were using that as their opportunity to hopefully push a site. Somewhat easier than dropping down from Satellite. 2 different opportunities to push into a site, but equally shut down almost every single time. And now we swap sides. 3 rounds at the hands of OR. Pistols in hand, not a single member of their team, even up to double digits in kills, and yet Break Brock there, 14-7, a 2.0 KD. Going for the same strats that we had seen OR try to employ early on too.
The person moving to site. Oh, that would have worked if that was anything but a shorty. Jonas has to reposition. He gets 2 for his troubles. No shot, bro. I know shorties do their thing, but damn.
That's wild. Wild plays. But what do you do when you're BreakThru and you're down a body? Thief, well, hiding around the black Radianite box, looking to maybe see there's a weapon disadvantage though, and Brock all the same. It's a frenzy in hand, good for the shot. Zell just falls, and all that's left now is a 2v2. And now it's down to 1.
He runs against him. He catches him as well, forcing to back off. Sees the reposition, and it's just an aim battle. And Nilly with the ghost, his shots go a little bit clean and a little bit farther. And he'll get the defuse. OR, a much needed pistol.
Very, very much needed. Can't be understated. Now the economy can look a little bit better. They have that buy-up advantage going into the next round, and that's usually where it starts, right? It's been the common theme for us casting these last few days is that usually teams, they have to rely heavily on this opening pistol and the buy-up to maintain a future in open qualifiers. And if they don't, it's a make-or-break moment. But for BreakThru, they have nothing but Sheriffs, a single classic for Thief's End, maintaining their economy, maybe for something a little bit larger than the classic in a few rounds, but I'll have to wait and see how that goes by. But this is a very, very broken up attack for BreakThru. They're really looking for info.
In BreakThru now, all join up as 3, knife not catching anybody close. And so they'll just stack up as 1, leaving a proto to lurk on the other side by spawn naturally. But OR though, almost a very similar approach, right? It's a 3-2 split, and the 3 are pretty far up here, right? 1 up by tower, VNX tucks into the corner, but the concuss is there, but that's both traded. And so with the trade of util, they'll choose to try to tuck under tunnel, but not before taking 3 of their lives. Team BreakThru, remember, this is their save. And a start like this is exactly what you need if you want to put them up, put them to 10. Ooh.
Oh, a duel. Zell just looking to clear out the top of tower. Nilly's there down below yet again. Both these ciphers taking full control of B site, and Sim does it again. They're shut it down. Double digits now for BreakThru in the first game of the series. They only need 3 more to bring things to ascent.
And because that was, of course, OR's bonus, right? So they now have to save up here. They have to have full save, likely putting BreakThru up to 11. The penultimate round before match point. So the way we're looking at it, it's a great start, and I gotta say, BreakThru played that really solidly, especially considering that they were concussed after the initial engagement. So they didn't take their picks and put out some solid licks.
And look at the respect given by BreakThru at the beginning of this round. They understand that OR are going to be on a big, big thrifty round, and yet there's no aggression coming from the defensive side. Oh, well, that gives full permission to push in aggressively now, doesn't it?
Yeah, because it's easy to walk in, and this is the same hole that we saw OR do previously against them, but now BreakThru is the one who've found themselves on the site, so it's almost like we're seeing the exact same sort of positions. We've seen them put up before, but our proto this time, though, is walking around a bit, seeing if he can find anybody at all, and shouldn't make contact with anyone just yet, but with the 2 members of OR, they know they have to walk in, and they found 1.
Look at the slow crawl from Joni here on sand. Zeldris 2 on the other side. Doing what they can with the small amount of utility they have, but it's not enough. Zeldris down to 1. Has to fight 2 different bodies, but Fly is so low on HP.
Ooh! Wait, he could do this. It's 1 shot, but luckily goes him back, gets to reload. And Thief strafing back and forth and back and forth. That time he needs to move back and puts OR back.
I mean, look, you go back and watch this match in the future, you might think this is a little bit more of a stomp, but honestly, a lot of these rounds have come really close. Down to 1v1s, just like we had seen last round. But that economy damage that's being applied to BreakThru, it hasn't hurt them. Even if it did end with a narrow, thrifty win, it's all rifles, yeah, but this still means that OR, if they lose this next round, they might be going to the very ending round of Fracture on a save.
This is a crucial round for OR. If they want to be able to have a future on this map, right, this has to be it. Or trade from both ciphers, but the alt there is even bigger. Right, all the information that's immediately given over, but Sim not being able to win that might hurt them the most. And now they're giving up almost everything in terms of space that they possibly had. And it leaves 1v4 Thief. Can you do this? The answer is no.
I would argue this is the most important round of the entire series, at least thus far. That defuse, keeping OR in the game, keeping their economy afloat, and now BreakThru, very likely on a broken buy into the next, could allow an opportunity for OR now to gain at least a few more rounds before getting into that same exact boat again. Now, I want to throw some stats at you, Rav.
Okay.
OR have played this map a few different times.
Okay.
But their attack and defense win percentage is virtually identical. They, before this map, have won 65% on the attack and 67 on the defense. So for OR, that 2% difference is really coming in clutch right now.
I mean, sometimes 2% is the difference between 88 and 90. And you know 90s is where it's at.
That's an A.
Exactly.
88's a B.
It's an A plus in Canada, in fact.
Oh, lucky you.
I know, right? But if anything right now, I know OR is looking to rack up more A pluses for themselves. Orbital Strike Rolling Thunder traded. A lot of more concusses and every single ultimate thrown on the board. But it only results in 4 people stunned and 2 people gone.
That orbital strike is going to be so important for OR here. Clearing out whatever space they can.
Flash alongside that, orbital strike in conjunction. That's up by tower, but the rest of OR now are walking into 3v3. All tucked in the corners of the rest of Team BreakThru, but against the concussed, they can't win it. It's trades galore, now putting it to a 1, but he's holding it. Lear, they have to swing him. He peeks back, he gets it to half. And now it's Brock against Lear. Can Brock do it again, or will Lear show him up? The strafe, and Brock puts the B in BreakThru. Match point for them.
Now for OR, they have to not only double their points, but gain just a few more on top of that, but not all is lost. It's a somewhat not great buy, light shields abound, but at least there's still rifles, and plus, OR, they have their null command, they have themselves their Rolling Thunder, and they have attack timeout to work with. And, you know, I gotta say, OR's defensive positioning isn't bad. It's a matter of just, you know, letting that utility ride and being caught up in the midst of it. We're seeing a lot of those paint nades find so much anti-spacing. A breakthrough, you could say, for the attacking team to get onto a site. But it's those end-game engagements. Again, the 1v1s have, for the most part, I guess you could say maybe 12 out of 17 times, have gone in BreakThru's favor.
Yeah, it hasn't been too bad, right? Considering how it's small engagements. But you mentioned previously how with a lot of these rounds tending out to be chaotic, right? It's just the prospect of surviving at times, which is really all we can count on for either one of these sides. Now, BreakThru's more than happy taking early trades, but you know, OR though, when they come in for the side retakes, it becomes increasingly tougher where they now go in for individual peaks and against the flashes and the concusses, the fault lines, and everything else, right? You're hoping they just survive by the end of this.
You can't trade this round if you're OR. You need as many bodies as you can for even a victory. And there we go, Sim. Full on blasting the site, double blast back straight into the null command.
Big knife. Sim also takes a bunch of shots. Woo, George just backs off. That actually could have been a kill, but so that puts the molly, and 1 tick is all he needs. A Rolling Thunder from OR's side. Water transfer, everybody taken down in tower. And the buildings fall, the structural integrity of Team BreakThru gives away 1 more round.
You could not ask for a better round for OR. The reactive plays, even on a broken buy, using the null command right on the cue of the entry, was such a great play from Jonah. Making sure that Sim was shut down, and not only that, predicting the showstopper would come out, predicting where BreakThru's play would be, the execute, all shut down so quickly. But there is a hitch, there is a problem. BreakThru still has a null command of their own, and postured outside A, possibly very aggressively. They're looking to make that utility from Cypher shut down so hard. Or not. Cypher's too far away.
Back in. They just, although they get caught by the rope, but remember, this is, once again, a save, so that's why running so aggressively. Arturo tries to go for the knife. He couldn't get it. Oh, runs out of bullets, but their trades are insane. Remember, this is just Sheriffs and Brock that puts it
Battlefield.
down to 2v2. These saves have been a while before, and they've now got Vandals in their hands as though nothing happened, but Lily has the upward angle. That's him up top, watching down below. The dance call through. That's Brock once again in a 1v2. Now I gotta see here, Brody. What can you do?
Fault line in just a few seconds. Once the 0 point goes away, he'll have utility for the 1v1.
And in 2 seconds here, Max, in just 2 seconds, as he gets the fault line back. Now he hits a certain angle, but look at this. All the way to the other side, Nilly. He's gonna go up against him, and Nilias will not go down so quietly. OR survive for another round.
I don't know what deal with the Devil OR have made, but they're making this comeback so aggressive. Each of these rounds again, ending with a 1v1. I don't think we've seen this tense of a series yet in Open Quals. And we're only on map 1.
I'm just happy we finally get a back and forth game to cast. That's all.
Me too. As a color caster, it is a very, very fun part of my brain. But it ends in these 1v1s. OR banking on these diffuses every single round. All but one. That 0 point from Flya, where will it go? And that could go directly nowhere. Oh, interesting. Well, it does land right in B main, at least one does. Oh, there it is. That was a late 0 point.
No, bear in mind, it was just the last round, and they got guns this time. So Sim is okay, no double blast pack, and that makes a space for us to walk in. And Ilias looking to walk in through main, and he gets stopped in his tracks. His sight is now gone. A 3v5 is the result, and they still have a Protoss neural theft.
This is a tough call to be in for OR right now. All separated out, very little tradability.
There.
They're making the push in. Utility now being brought out. So much spacing being denied.
All they gotta do is after that, right? Just deny it, but they're not walking in. Spectre Fusion's gone, and it's just Brock to get the final. All wrapped in like a beautiful calzone, and BreakThru takes a big bite. They're now up 1-0, looking to go towards finals.
What a heartbreaking end for OR there. Just as the comeback was ramping up all of its velocity, it was shot down in its path. But for BreakThru, consistency was the name of the game. I mean, especially for their defensive start, it was a completely different game. Over and over, we saw shutdown after shutdown on B site, and there was no opportunities for OR to make a comeback. But when the sides swapped, it was a very, well, somewhat of a different story. It almost became one, but it's one of those tales where we'll have to wait to see if it continues on for map number 2.
Only one more map remains between Team BreakThru and going to finals for tomorrow. We'll have to wait and see if that does happen, or we'll be seeing our first map 3 of the day. Stick around and find out.
Yo, check it out. Want to know if the price of those Wave Runners is too good to be true? Or if I Wear My Kicks 49 is truly selling dead stocks? Or if that Jordan 1 Royal Box is original? eBay checks. See that little blue check mark? Behind it is a team of independent authenticators who check. And we mean everything. Every tongue, check. Every toe box, check. Every corner of every box, check, 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 check. Every logo, every label, every lace loop. Yeah, it's checked. The luster of the leather, the topography on the tags, to the straightness of the stitching on the sole. Everything you can see, and even some things you can't.
Really?
Then they tag them, log them in the system, box them up, and ship them out, with no cost for the buyer or seller. eBay checks, so the moment you open that box is as real gets.
Finally, you can stay in control of your thumbsticks. Natural evolution gave the gecko its amazingly strong grip. Our multi-patented SetX technology duplicates the microstructured fibers on a gecko's foot for a revolutionary new way to get a grip on game controller thumbsticks. Like a gecko's foot, the thousands of microstructures on each SetX anti-slip thumbstick grip provide high friction to the skin surface for a secure, comfortable grip, even when sweaty, giving you a competitive advantage. Stay in control with the secure and comfortable grip of Sedex thumbstick grips. Inspired by nature, perfected by science.